I'm in the top 1% of all sports card sellers on eBay. And now I'm going to tell you how you can do it. What's up guys, this is Tyler back again with another video, and today we're going to go through my eBay dashboard. I just found out today, coincidentally, that I am ranked 79 out of 120,000 eBay sellers within a specific category. So I want to go through that information, where you can find out your rating, and then also just go through some of my analytics. So you may have seen a previous video that I uploaded where I went through the previous items that I've sold in the first quarter of the year, $100,000 in 99 days. So take a look at that video where I cover some of the same things, but this is going to be a little bit different. I want to focus a little bit on some of the analytics in terms of what is driving some of the performance. So there is actually a listing quality report that I want to direct everyone to. So if we go up to the performance tab on your My eBay summary, you can see that there's a couple of different icons that you can click on. One of the things that I was directed to is I just got off the phone with an eBay representative who is reaching out to me to see if he can help grow my eBay sales. This is one of those accounts that was flagged as a growth opportunity. So got in touch with him and he gave me some pointers. So I won't go through the entire conversation, but one thing that he pointed me to was the downloaded listings quality report. So whenever you open that up, this is my actual report. So we can see here, one of the cool things about this is it shows essentially your sales funnel based on impressions, click-through, sales, etc. So in addition to it giving you what your impressions are, as well as click-through rate and sales, it gives you your ranking for each of these measures, but in aggregate, it gives you a overall ranking relative to all sellers as it relates to your sales rank in this section. And the section is trading cards, listing condition unknown. Now there are a couple of different other categories here that they have for items that I have. Whenever you list a card, typically if they're PSA graded, you list the card unknown. Otherwise you're basically grading the card yourself. Some sellers list the condition, some don't. If you go down here, there's also trading card lots, which I don't necessarily use a whole lot of. So trading card lots, condition unknown. You can see there's not as many sellers that have items listed in this, but I'm still ranked 47 out of 11,000 there. But these are the current active lots that I have underway. The last category is, again, one that I only have one item currently listed in. I still have a pretty strong ranking. This is actually where sellers are listing trading card singles listing condition used. So where they actually list a condition. This one I'm ranked 4,000 out of 250,000 sellers. So again, I only have one listing active right now. So pretty interesting how I come up with that rating, but I find this really interesting. So my sales ranking is 79 out of 120,000. So the entire phone call with the eBay representative was to figure out how we can get these numbers to grow, and what my goals are, etc. So a couple of things that the eBay rep did say is really one of the things is these recommended actions. This makes it extremely, extremely difficult on a seller's part, but where there's different item specifics that you have to add, such as the player name, the league, the team that they play for, the year the card was made, the manufacturer, is it autographed or not, is it graded or not. I add all the things that eBay populates, but I don't go in and manually add anything because who's got time for that? Nobody's got time for that. So my feedback to the eBay rep was, yeah, sometimes it's great because it auto-populates. Other times it's a hassle. You can't really go in and add 20 different things because if you have 700 plus listings like I do, it just takes a lot of time. So his feedback was, yeah, we get it. eBay has a lot of data, billions of listings. Obviously, it's impossible to add everything and populate everything. They're trying to make it a little bit better with sports cards. But what he did say is it's vital that you add that because as it relates to any external advertising or links, if somebody is filtering that on a Google search or if they're filtering for that on eBay, you're automatically getting filtered out of that search criteria. So knowing that eBay buyers are not necessarily always savvy, whether it be filtering and looking for specific items, sometimes they filter out a lot of listings. So by doing that, you're missing out on a lot of sales. So he did recommend to add that. There's some other recommendations that he added. Well, I won't go through those in this video because I want to try some of them out, see if they actually help me grow a little bit, and maybe report back, maybe not. We'll see. But overall, I did want to share this with you, 79 out of 120,000. Now, if we go through my actual overview, think it would be pretty beneficial. Again, I want to give an update. The rolling 31 days, 38,000 sales, currently above standard. I lost my top rated seller status because I accidentally ran a promotion where I wanted to offer $2 off on a specific card where I had multiple quantities. What I ended up erroneously doing is offering the card for sale for $2. And of course, everybody who got the notification bought the card immediately, and I had to cancel all the sales. Canceling those sales absolutely destroyed my rating as it relates to transaction defect. That has to be around 0.5 in order for you to be top rated seller. Right now it's 0.84. So I have to wait for those things to fall off. You can actually click on this and actually see what items those are. If you go to the full report, you can see I sold 4 of these Bowman Chrome Sapphire Edition James Woods all at the exact same time. They're about to fall off. Then we have a couple of these that closed without seller resolution. These were cards that were returned by eBay. I have no idea why. I think this one I actually sent the refractor instead of the pink refractor. So that was a mistake on my part. I may have done the same there. So can't be perfect. That's why they have top rated seller badges out there. I was within the window, but then I made a mistake. So let's go ahead and look at some of the sales trends. So as you can see, rolling 31 days, I'm trending up favorably. So a lot of that doesn't necessarily have to do with anything that I'm doing on my end. I don't have a secret magic sauce. I just added a lot more inventory right around this time period. You can see sales usually trend up right whenever I add inventory, and then they kind of level off, plateau. I have sold some items today. Unfortunately, this will not populate until the buyer pays. So I've sold a couple of other cards I'm waiting on payment for. So as soon as we get those, should be well on my way to over $1,000 today, and that's really the goal, is over $1,000 per day. If we keep going, again, I have started to run a couple more promotions, so my listing impressions is starting to climb. Click-through rate is starting to decrease, obviously, because impressions are going up. Listing page views is hovering right around 20,000. eBay rep did say listing page views is important, not necessarily on a specific item, but for your overall count, so that it helps you rank higher as it relates to your search rankings on eBay. So if we flip back over to this report, you can see how some of these listings are either ranked. So if you're competing against multiple sellers that have the same item, there's a ranking criteria based on your quality of listing, based on your price, based on whether or not you have top rated seller status, and also whether or not you have these item specifics completed. So you really are competing with all other sellers out there. And it's because sellers or buyers, on the other hand, aren't necessarily savvy enough to filter to the lowest price. Obviously, everybody in sports cards wants the lowest price. If you have a card that is the same as the other, you want the one that's cheapest, right? So this really does help, and it also helps boost your ranking within eBay. And also, all this comes together so that it gives you an overall ranking as a seller within that category. So the more clicks you get, as I was told by the eBay rep, the better. The more page views, the better. That makes you more relevant within your search term. So that was really interesting to find out. Again, that we've come a long way from just throwing cards up at auction and letting it ride at 99 cents. It's becoming a lot more sophisticated as it relates to the quality of your listings, as well as your overall price, etc. So thought that it would be good to really share that with you guys. The last couple of things that I may go through, maybe we can go through a couple of the sales items just to see what some of these things are. There is actually one thing that I wanted to share really quickly. So if we go to all of my orders, I want to pull up a comparison of how I'm being successful in selling specific items. So I've told people in the beginning of the year, if you auction your cards off either yourself or via consignment, that is a losing proposition. So I've got a couple of these where I want to show you exactly why that is important. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at a couple of examples. First is a PSA 9 Aaron Judge that I sold for buy it now best offer $78.99. So that is a strong sell, very good sell. If you look at typical completed listings for this card, I'm trying to see if I have any other PSA 9s that have sold. But if you go look at others that have sold, so let's just quickly open up a Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome 56 PSA 9. Let's look at the completed sales. So at auction, you can see this card, wow, that's much lower than what I thought that it would actually go for. So $33 on April 10th. April 9th, $26.96. That is incredibly low. So if I blew this card out, sold it via Probstein, said, I don't want to do this, let somebody else take control of this, or just sold it on my own, I would have gotten somewhere around that price, maybe 40 if I'm lucky. But by selling it as a buy it now best offer on April 6th, I got essentially a above average going price. Here's another example, is Cole Caulfield, whose stuff is really not all that hot right now. So I have two examples here to share with you. First is one that I sold at auction on April 11th. Again, both of these cards are mine. Sold it at auction for $127.50. Immediately after, I ended up listing more inventory, and I listed this buy it now $199, and boom, I got a buyer at $199. Actually, this buyer paid immediately because they have to. And this person was taking several days after he saw that I sold that one for $199. He pulled the trigger and finally paid me on the one that he wanted auction. So really interesting how that works in terms of auctions versus buy it now. This is why it's vitally important. One of the things I'm going to go through in the overview is looking at my sales buy it now best offer and looking at some of those trends versus auction. So again, we're looking at a rolling 31 days, $38,000 in sales. You can see the fees, net sales, etc. We've gone through this previously. Quantity sold, actually haven't sold that many. So again, 6% down in terms of month over month. The average sales price is very, very high though. So it could be just the type of inventory that I have. Obviously, you gotta have good stuff. You gotta have quality. You can't promote a turd and try to sell it. If it stinks and it sucks, nobody wants to buy it, right? You have to have good stuff that people want. People organically find that, etc. All right, so sales breakdown. You can see out of that 38,000 in total sales, 33.7 of that, 33,700 was sales via fixed price best offer. Why is that important? And you can also see that's up 71% month over month. Well, that's huge because I get to dictate the price and I can be agreeable to that price. Some of these prices mean that I could take losses. Some of them mean that I could break even. Hopefully that's not obviously every single situation, but it's a price that I'm comfortable with moving the card for. Whereas auction, you are basically giving that card away at the lowest possible price. I will give an example of a couple of cards that have sold recently for well above comps, and I was actually paid for those items. Let's go ahead and do a quick search. One was a Julio Rodriguez. Let's do all orders. Let's go all orders. So if we click over on all orders, we'll go through a couple of these really, really quick because it is pretty interesting just to see Julio. And I don't know why it defaults to that. I wish it would default to item title. So we type in Julio. I've sold a lot of Julios and the system is a little bit slow. So if we scroll down and look, we can see a huge outlier. So I had a repeat buyer. Man, that's awesome. But I think this is sniping gone wrong. So this is a Allen & Ginter Mini PSA 10 for $159. You can see I sell the same card. I don't know if there's something weird about it, but I sell the same card, basically, in the 35, 40, 55 range. Same card auctioned earlier, 36. I got multiple copies of them. So that was pretty weird. And then also a Ronald Acuna Jr. card as well. So if we click on that, this was a snipe definitely gone wrong. So you can see I had two of these. One sold March 9th, one sold April 13th. The March 9th one I auctioned off well below what I paid for it. Ronald Acuna Jr. is not hot, but April 13th looks like sniping gone wrong. Sold that one for $227.50. So I've had two pretty favorable snipes recently, and I'll take it. That's kind of great. So if we go back over to the overview, let's see if there's anything else I want to share with everyone before I call this one quits. So if we're looking at our sales, we looked at auctions, etc. So we can also take a look at promoted listing sales. So these are sales in which I do have a promoted listing sale. That's represented by that gray box. So blue is organic. The gray is going to be promoted. So you can see a couple of these. Usually these are like one item that represents a big chunk, whether it's a high dollar item. You can see today there's actually quite a bit. So somebody bought one of my items via promotion, so I got a higher price than I normally did because I was promoting that item. So that one actually worked out. Doesn't always work out, but it worked out that time. So overall, that's what I want to share with you guys. I'm now officially in the top 0.01%, 0.1%, something like that, 0.06%, I'm pretty sure. So 79 out of 120,000 in my listing category, and I wasn't aware of it. So let's see if we can grow that from here. Again, highly recommend selling things on your own. That is a complete flip from what I've been doing if you've watched my previous videos. So please pay attention to this, share it with your buddies. If you think that sending your cards off for consignment is smart today, it is not. You're going to be giving away cards and losing money and basically wasting your time. So hope everybody enjoy this content. Have a great weekend out there, and we will see you guys next time.